quickly as possible. So just keep that in mind when you talk either up at the podium or my fellow trustees to make sure you're talking into the microphone so it gets recorded and make sure that you can hear yourself in these speakers. And with that, I will call this meeting to order. All right, Mr. Patrick, roll call.
Okay, thank you. Kim Skornagowski,
Here.
Bill Bronson,
Here.
Mark Finicum,
Here.
Marley Sunchild, Amy Thompson, Paige Tarosky,
Here.
Gordon Johnson.
Excused.
All present except Mr. Johnson. You have a quorum.
Wonderful. Thank you. Please rise and we'll say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Wonderful. Is there a motion to adopt the agenda?
Madam Chair,
Yes, Trustee Tarosky.
move that we adopt the agenda as presented.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to adopt the agenda as presented. Is there any comments or questions from my fellow trustees or from the community at large? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. All right, wonderful. Motion passes.
Madam Chair,
Yes,
I
Trustee
would move
Finicum.
that we approve the consent agenda as presented with a special thanks to the Lincoln and SAC PTAs for huge contributions for playground equipment.
Second.
All right, wonderful. It's been moved and seconded to adopt to approve the consent agenda as presented. Is there any questions or comments from our community? All right, seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. All right. Communication. Mrs. Hoyer, please introduce our guest.
Absolutely. Well, good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board. It is my pleasure to invite up to the microphone Dugan Coburn. Dugan is our Director of Indigenous Peoples Education, and in recognition and honor of National Indigenous Peoples Day, he has a presentation for us.
Thank you. Thank you, the school board, for letting me come up here and do this today on National Indigenous Peoples Day. We are going to have an honor song sung for you in just a minute by Mr. Calvin Gahn. He's one of our department members. Indigenous Day is really a nice way to be recognized in our community. And as we say, as if you are Indigenous, every day is an Indigenous Day. But to share this with you guys today is an honor for us. And so we're going to have you all stand as we deliver this honor song. And we thank you for letting us come up and do this. Calvin? All right. Thank you guys for letting us come and celebrate this day with you. Calvin, come back for a second. I'd just like to share that, as you all know, 1/6 of our students in the Great Falls community, Great Falls Public Schools, are Native American, and that we appreciate all the support we get from everybody in this room as we go forward. And so we'd just like to thank you all for that today. And then, Calvin, I want you to go around. Shake hands with everybody.
Yeah, thank you both so much for leading the way for so many students in our schools. We appreciate your time and your talents, and you honor us with this honor song. So thank you so much. All right, Mrs. Mainwaring.
Good evening, Vice Chair Skornagoski, Superintendent Hoyer, members of the board. It's my pleasure tonight to introduce our student representatives. We'll go in order of Great Falls High, Paris, and then CMR tonight.
So who's going to sing tonight? Check. Okay.
Good evening, Vice Chair Skornagoski, Superintendent Hoyer, trustees, and members of our community. My name is Brooklyn Griffin, and I am a 12th grader at Great Falls High School, and I am excited to share what we've been doing for the past month with all of you guys. So to start out, I'm going to start with my lesson that I've learned, or I guess an ongoing lesson because we're not quite done with it yet. But in AP Statistics, we're currently doing a Barbie bungee jump, and the objective is to calculate how many rubber bands are needed to get the Barbie as close to the ground as possible without hitting her head. To calculate, we're using our own statistics based off experimenting how far the Barbie drops with a certain amount of rubber bands. And then this will correlate to a calculation of the drop of the top of the hub when we'll experiment. And I'm really excited to finish this project, and I hope we win because I think we get extra credit. But that was our original test. That was the Barbie. She hit her head in that one, but I just screenshotted it before that happened. Ooh, that did not update. That's okay. Next, we have athletics. Great Falls High School athletics are making themselves known all across the state. Golf wrapped up, and our very own Hannah Boyd took home a second place state title. Cross country is doing very well, and they have crosstown going on this week. So if you have time, Wednesday the 16th at 1:30, stop by Anaconda Hills Golf Course and watch the Bison hopefully dominate. Soccer already wrapped up with their crosstown matches in Memorial Stadium, and they are now looking ahead to divisionals. Volleyball is having a better year under a new coach, Nicole Killian, and they have a few wins under their belt. Football is doing great this year, and they are third on the eastern side, and should get a home playoff game if they win their next 2 regular season games. I think everybody is looking forward to the Crosstown football game on October 25th, where the truck will be raffled off and the Crosstown Clash winner will be announced. Cheerleading is having a great season as they have had 2 great pep assembly performances and do a great job of cheerleading all the Bison athletics to victory. And then lastly, dance is also having a great season with a lot of awesome performances at pep assemblies and games. And then this was my nice little collage of pictures that did not get updated, but it's okay. And then my last one for today is homecoming. Bison homecoming was a major success. There was a ton of participation from every class in our Olympic themed homecoming. Monday was Made in America Monday, where students walked the halls in their red, white, and blue. There were even some founding fathers roaming around. Tuesday was Team Up Tuesday, where people teamed up and dressed alike. Wednesday was class day. The seniors were beach sports. The juniors were Is It Really a Sport? Sophomores were court sports, and freshmen were winter sports. Thursday was Dress Classy, where the whole school dressed up to watch our fabulous homecoming court perform. And finally, Friday was our Bison Pride Day, where we hosted our amazing pep assembly, the delicious school barbecue, the parade, and finally our football game, where we took home a big win over senior. Our king and queen were named at halftime of this football game, and it was Sadie Sangray and Andrew Pfeifenberger, who were more than deserving of this title. All in all, homecoming week was all that was expected and more, and it was a great time for everyone who participated. Oh, and the seniors took home their fourth consecutive win for participation during homecoming, meaning that my class won all 4 years of homecoming. So we were really excited. And I'll pass it off to Caitlin.
Good evening, Vice Chairman Skornagoski, Superintendent Hoyer, trustees, and members of the community. My name is Caitlin Fulbright, and I'm a 10th grader at Great Falls High School, and I'm excited to continue this presentation. A lesson I learned this month is in Miss Lloyd's biology class this month. We did a lab to learn about how ecological interactions work using M&Ms. For the lab, we demonstrated how different species can help each other hurt one another, or like compete with one another. It was definitely a fun lab and definitely a tasty one too. This month on October 6th through the 7th, students, a part of the club's IMB and student council, participated in Youth Days. It's a 2-day youth leadership event including talks, activities, workshops, and community service. This event is open to all middle schoolers and high schoolers in Montana, and it was held at Great Falls High. And it was a fun opportunity to work in the community and get to know kids in Montana who want to make a difference in their schools as well as their communities. We also have on October 6th through the 7th, students a part of BPA at Great Falls High attended the Business Professionals of America Fall Leadership Conference in Fairmont Hot Springs. At the conference, they attended workshops and competed in events. This kicked off what is now going to be a successful and engaging year for BPA.
Good evening, Vice Chair Skornagoski, Superintendent Hoyer, trustees, and members of the community. My name is Seth Royer. I'm a junior at Great Falls High School, and I get to finish off this presentation for you. And this year, this was a really fun lab that we got to do in Mr. Hodges' honors chemistry class. We took like these little wooden sticks that were soaked in different types of chemicals, and we held them into Bunsen burners and saw how the different chemicals reacted with the flames. And that kicked off this whole super confusing unit about like electrons and photons and stuff, which I took a test on and I did really good on. So pretty happy about that. It was really fun because we got to, I guess, play with fire a little bit in school. It was really neat to see how the chemicals reacted. The next lesson I learned is in Mr. V's Power Tech class, where we learned how to disassemble a Honda lawnmower engine. And it's surprising how sharp those things are. I think I've cut myself probably like 4 times on one hand just taking it apart. Um, it's really fun just trying to like seeing how a small scale engine goes together and how the internal parts work. Mr. V, he's a really great teacher. He'll show us how to do something. Like today, he showed us how to put the valves back into the back into where the piston goes and put the piston back in. And I tried to have him keep them in there, but he took them out, so I had to do it myself. It was kind of fun. We had a bit of a scuffle over that. I tried to hold my piston in, and he yanked it out, so that was pretty fun. Next up is students on the radio. Student council members Hannah Hill, Billy Zaremski, and Vale Van Vost joined 560 KMON host Jason Laird to share updates about Great Falls High. This stuff included the Night of Champions to honor past football players and talking about homecoming. And I listen to that radio a lot. It's the only one my truck picks up, so that would have been fun to hear, but I think I was in school for that. Next up is the art students giving back. This month, Great Falls High's AP Studio art students served dinner for the Fraternal Order of Moose. This will help pay for these students to attend National Portfolio Day in Spokane, Washington this November. So special thanks to Lodge number 532 for inviting us again this year. This is a slide that isn't on there, I guess. It's pretty cool. The title is New Donated Edition, and it's a picture of the senior stairs of Great Falls High, and like the bell tower. It's lit up blue. They fixed lights and stuff like that. It's really cool. So we want to give a huge thank you to a few people for their great work on these attached additions to our school, which are the pictures you can't see. So imagine it.
Next time.
Yeah, next time. They gratefully donated their time and resources to make this happen. So a special thank you to Enterprise Electric, specifically Herman Pulliam and Hunter Boyd for doing all the electrical work. T&E Rental, specifically Mike Chattel for donating the lift in order to reach the bell tower. Glacier State Electrical Supply for their donation, and especially Jack Norris from Great Falls Public Schools Building and Grounds for painstakingly polishing the lettering and cleaning the stone on the front of the Great Falls High building. And all of this was going on right outside my AP U.S. history classroom. So they were like drilling and jackhammering and stuff, and it was kind of distracting, but I made it through it. Don't worry. And this last slide is just to keep up with all things Great Falls High School, our Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. There's a lot of fun posts on there just to stay updated. And that's all we have for you this month.
Thank you. All right, great job.
Good
Welcome.
evening, Vice Chairman Skornagovsky, Superintendent Hoyer, members of the board, and members of our community. My name is Mercury Baez, and here is Paris Gibson Education Center's board report. Sorry. Right. Butte in America. Butte America never disappoints. Students were able to tour an underground mine and eat as miners once did. Students were surprised to learn how quickly the temperatures dropped once underground. They also got to see the Berkeley pit while in the area. Fun. All right. While in Butte, students attended a campus tour at the School of Mines and stopped along the journey to look at rock formations for geology. They were able to compare in contrast the outdoor formations with smaller indoor samples found in the Mineral Museum. The food drive. GMG is hosting a Paris Gibson Education Center food drive starting October 1st through December 1st. Donations can be deposited in your favorite team's bin. Who will come out on top? The Cats, the Grizz, or our students taking so much good care of each other? Find yourself in a pickle? Use your knowledge of science to understand why we use vinegar and salt to can food. Science and culinary join together for round 2 of hot bath versus pressure canning, and to explore why science allows us to use one process for canning but not others. Will you use science for cooking? Absolutely. Students joined Miss Sagan and Mrs. Sanger in the culinary room for a spicy and sweet lesson on candied jalapenos and canning. Yeah, for safety, gloves, and don't touch the eyes. Fancy ramen, my favorite. After a week of canning, students made fancy ramen in culinary. They noodles, the house-made canned and fermented goods such as kimchi, pickled and candied jalapenos, and pickled avocados. Let's see, Foreign Friday. What is Foreign Friday, you may ask? We take a trip around the country or region with Miss Sitzman and Mrs. Sanger. First, we learn a little history and then a shake on science with a final seasoning. And then with a final seasoning, we shared a treat box with trivia and snacks. Recently, we took a trip to the United Kingdom. Cracking the code. Using science, math, and reasoning skills, students were tasked to put together, or alone, to determine the pattern to spell phoenix. It was interesting to see who could crack the pattern first and who needed to write down the sequence to determine the pattern involved. Fossil hunting. Spending the day at Madison limestone full of fossils. We hiked through the quartzite and feldspar and lodgepole spines of Memorial Falls. We experienced canotype printmaking all day. The water, the sun, the smells, the connection to the moment, to each other, and to our environment created a most excellent day. Mr. Logan and Mrs. Walters took students to the Little Belts, and they saw a black bear cub run across the land, found tons of fossils, created canotype prints, and made beautiful core memories. Young Parents Education Center has a new director and is looking to expand. We have openings and need your help spreading the word. And if you know anyone in need of quality childcare, please call Susie at 406-268-6665. Beading is a popular activity at Paris. Students learn to bead using a variety of techniques. One technique is loom beading. And as you see on the right, the middle image is a student designed pattern for loom beading. The picture on the left is a finished product from an original student pattern. Our talented students eagle bead feathers for graduation, earrings for gifts, or to sell pen wraps, strips for graduation caps, and the possibilities are endless. All right, the Lewis and Clark Caverns. The Lewis and Clark Caverns Cavern crew explored bioclastic sedimentary rocks. stalagmites, stalactites, and the Madison limestone at its finest. Geology students has been busy traveling around the state while the weather has been nice. Links graphics. Loy Elementary PTA ordered hundreds of shirts and sweatpants for the kids and parents to show their school pride. Links graphic students screen printed the images to ensure industry quality products for a great price. Call us anytime for screen printing or your banner needs. Indigenous Games. Great Falls Public Schools recognizes American Heritage Week. Paris students learned lessons from poetry and English to double ball and PE. The best news: Indian education, Indian education, all happiness all year round. And Paris Gibson Education Center is fortunate enough to have so many opportunities. Extracting honey. We had a healthy honey crop this fall. Students managed the bees and the hives all year round in hopes of enjoying one last sweet treat before early fall. Loki's Ghost. It's that time of year again. As fall comes, we heat things up at Paris with a pepper harvest in the processing of Loki's Ghost hot pepper shake. And that is all I have for you tonight.
Thank you.
Good evening, Vice Chair Skornagowski, Superintendent Hoyer, members of the board, and members of our community. My name is Lillian Scare, and I'm a senior at CMR, and I'm excited to get started on our October board report. To start with, we have community service. CMR cheerleaders spent a weekend volunteering at the Walk to End Alzheimer's and cheering on participants at the My Best Day 5K Dash. HOSA has also been busy with multiple service projects. They also cheered on the My Best Day 5K. Then they spread positivity to our healthcare heroes at their incognito night at Benefice. My first lesson I loved was Miss Clutter's Culinary 1-2 class. We just wrapped up our yeast and quick bread unit, so the class got to make cinnamon chip biscuits, muffins, cinnamon rolls, and pretzels. And we filled out a worksheet about different kinds of bread and got to draw them. The pictures are from my group's home cooking assignment where we made cinnamon roll muffins, and it was a lot of fun. And then so while we've had fun learning about leavening agents in breads, we are excited to move on to our next unit on milk, eggs, and cheese. And so today we made omelets, and let's just say my kitchen needs to work on their omelet making. It's harder than you think. Next, we have career technical education. Our 47th high school house team kicked off construction this past month. We can't wait to see the beautiful home they and Mr. Pace put together these next 9 months. We also had our annual World of Works event where 10th grade students had fun learning about different career options in all 16 career pathways. A second lesson we loved was in Mrs. Vert's Anatomy and Physiology class. Students learned dissection cuts by practicing med-term vocabularies like superficial, transverse, and proximal on their clay humans. Students demonstrated their dissection cuts and fixed errors immediately through hands-on learning. This was a great visual exercise to learn and practice vocabulary. Next is our athletic update. So we have a lot of updates for athletics, so let's start with golf. We sent 5 wrestler golfers to state: Jack Pinsky, Aiden Platt, Jackson Hagman, Quincy Weymouth, and Danica Lewis. Huge shout out to Jack Pinsky, who was the Eastern Divisional champion and placed 9th at state, as well as Quincy Weymouth, who had a 6th place finish. Both boys and girls soccer teams just had back-to-back wins against Belgrade this last week. Senior night was held between crosstown games, and we celebrated 21 seniors. Football had a crazy and amazing win against Skyview during homecoming week, and they have another home game this Thursday. Cross country is about to wrap up their season with Crosstown on Wednesday, and so everyone should come and support Emerson. And then the state meet on the 26th. Most recently, they competed at the Capital City 7-on-7, 7 of 7 on Thursday, where each of the 7 varsity runners for each team competed in their own race. Our volleyball team is making a strong impression and hoping to do well at divisionals. Their current record is 4-3, and we are 4th in the Eastern Conference.
Good evening, Vice Chair Skornagoski, Superintendent Hoyer, members of the board, and members of the community. I'm Emerson Hama, a junior at CMR, and I'd like to continue the board report. Next off is BPA. BPA kicked off the year with their Fall Leadership Conference. There, they spent time collaborating with teens from around the state to generate ideas and create a plan for this year in Business Professionals of America. Another lesson that we loved was in Mr. Nagangas's ceramics and sculpture class. They just finished their first functional projects. They received their pieces last week to take official photographs and bring them home to show their families. These projects help to teach students the fundamentals of ceramics so they can move on to use the pottery wheel and advanced techniques. Speech and debate kids spent homecoming building floats, decorating doors, and dressing up. And practices are now in full swing, and they're preparing for their first meet, which is just a month away. Another lesson that we loved were students in Mr. Skier's AP Calculus class have been working through the introductory unit on derivatives. They learned the rules for differentiation, including the product and quotient rules. Mr. Skier gave them the saying low d high minus high d low over low squared to help students memorize arguably the hardest rule, the quotient rule. These rules streamline the process, letting students skip the time-consuming process of manually taking the derivative of a function. Next up is performing arts. Our first band concert was amazing. Bill Will was filled with fabulous music, and we are looking forward to our orchestra concert tonight and choir concert tomorrow night. Meanwhile, our drama and music departments have been practicing for their fall musical, Pirates of Penzance.
Good evening, Vice Superintendent Skordagoski, or Vice Chairman Skordagoski, Superintendent Heather Hoyer, members of the board, and members of the community. I'm Lydia Comstock, a 10th grader at CMR, and I'd like to continue this presentation. We had our student government members create one of the most memorable homecomings, and it was our 60th anniversary homecoming. They had the opportunity to share all of the happenings of homecoming on the KMLN radio. Another lesson that we loved is that the sophomore English classes are starting their first novel of the year, Fahrenheit 451. To get acquainted with the novel, students created posters featuring important elements found within the book. They found historical art and literature with the same symbols and presented their posters to the class. Students also played vocabulary games to get familiar with keywords in the book, and students are loving the novel. On Monday of last week, members of our CMR peer mentor group met with the leaders of State of Mind. They discussed important issues involving mental health, and they helped write parts of a play that State of Mind performed on Tuesday night at the Alliance for Youth. Our peer mentor group also celebrated World Mental Health Day on Thursday, October 10th, and they helped create what we do Wednesday lessons for the whole school on mental health awareness. Another lesson that we loved, students in Mr. Hibbert's honors chemistry class were introduced to the mole. They started by making out posters to show how moles relate to atoms and grams. The students then used conversion factors to change between atoms, grams, moles, and units. And now we're moving on to homecoming. The first day of homecoming was so much fun. We had the color run the Thursday before homecoming. And day one, our theme was country versus country club. The outfits were amazing. We had powder puff football game that night. The seniors and sophomores won, making the senior class undefeated.
For our second day of homecoming, the theme was Battle of the Ages. So the freshmen were babies, sophomores were kids, juniors were adults, and seniors were senior citizens. This day was so much fun and really showed off kids' creativity. That night, we also had JV crosstown soccer and crosstown volleyball. We packed the place in pink and cheered our girls on to victory. And then the third day of homecoming, the theme, it was the class theme. So the freshmen were mountain meadows, sophomores were the ocean, juniors were the jungle, and seniors were the Arctic. Congratulations to the sophomores who won the hallway decorating contest, as well as the juniors who placed second and the seniors who placed third.
Day 4, the whole school dressed up for our coronation. Mr. Greger and Mr. Kropp did a fantastic job as MCs.
We learned all about our wrestlers in the wild through their science lessons and singing classic lines from musicals. Then we got introduced to our 2024 homecoming court. Choir sang beautifully and drama put on an excellent performance. Our fall activity leaders were presented and we had visitors from across the river. Huge congratulations to King Mark and Queen Veronica. Day 5, our wrestlers showed up to school decked out in their CMR green and gold gear and then enjoyed our free barbecue. Our parade was so much fun. Congratulations to the junior class on winning the class float contest and the lady wrestler soccer team on winning the club contest, making that 5 years running. Our football game was quite the night to remember. With wind blowing and a power outage, our royalty walked the field with our student section cheering loudly. Then the lights went out and our band played in the dark. After some delay, the game continued and our football team pulled out a victory. It was definitely crazy, but it made the night memorable.
Our finance and career prep students had a great day at the University of Providence College and Career Prep Fair. We appreciate the community providing events like this and World of Work to help our students become more prepared for life after high school. The Great Falls Leadership High School class of 2025 kicked off this year with a guest speaker from last year's group. They are excited to learn all about what Great Falls has to offer them in terms of tourism, agriculture, business, media, education, and more. And for Wrestler Pride, we want to say congratulations to our 43 students who made the MHSA All-State Festival. After rigorous audition processes, they head to Billings this week to perform at the festival. We are very proud of them, and they are Wrestler Pride. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. As always, students, we so appreciate you taking the time to put these presentations together. Your work and your effort really shows, and it's just such a joy to see what you're learning. And really to imagine that all of that happened in a month is pretty mind blowing. So thank you so much for being with us. We'll have the superintendent's report, and then I'll let you go. Oh, also just way to go and trying to say my name. You guys all got it right, and none of you were intimidated. I can't tell you how many adults are intimidated by that. So props for that. Superintendent Hoyer, your report.
Thank you, Vice Chair Skornagoski. And tonight is a concert night, as you'll see in just a couple moments. And so if you do need to leave, guys, while I'm talking, I am fine with that. You need to be on stage because it was amazing. So thank you again. Thank you, huge. Thank you to Dugan Coburn and to Calvin Ground. I believe is his last name. I should know that. I apologize for coming in and providing us with an honor song. One of the things that the executive directors and I have been supporting Dugan in is on greater education across our community. And this was one point he knew he could come in and provide some fantastic education to our community. So thank you for allowing us to do that. So this summer you heard about our partnership with Turo Medical School. We helped them with their barbecue where we taught them some line dancing. And a week ago you heard about the QPR training that our mentor group did that they are actually adopting in all of their Turo Medical Schools across the nation. Tonight I want to show you a couple of pictures of how Turo gives back to us. The first one is the top left-hand corner, and then the center pictures are on our MedAchieve Montana. We have doubled our numbers in MedAchieve, I do believe, for this year. The picture on the upper left-hand corner is the mentors and the mentees and a couple of the adults that are involved in this as well in that picture. And then down in the middle is actually one of the doctors who comes in and is an instructor at Turo, and he is talking with our students, and you'll see them in the background, the young lady in pink and then the young lady in white, as they go through their MedAchieve evenings over at Turo. Then we also have Docs and Tots, and that's the lower right-hand corner. And this is where the medical students go up to our preschool and work with the students on all sorts of things. The big part of it is teaching them, learning how the little students or the little kids communicate with them as doctors, but also teaching the students not to be the littles, not to be afraid of doctors when they go to doctors. And so it's very much a give and take, but it's a fantastic day where they spend time together learning from each other. It's a lot of fun. Today kicked off the Name the Snowplow contest, and I was getting pictures right before this meeting, so I will share them with you at our next meeting. But across the district today and tomorrow, our second graders are being challenged to name the snowplows for the city of Great Falls. So this is incorporated into our social studies curriculum. We have Rachel Cutler as our coordinator of elementary curriculum, and she went ahead and aligned it for us. We have snowplows visiting each school, 15 snowplows, 15 names, and a huge thank you to Becky Nelson for her coordination with this. They are so excited about getting to name their snowplows. They'll actually have, I think, bumper stickers or stickers on the plow that say the name of the school and then the name that won for that snowplow. So as you see them going across our community this winter as we get snow, take a look at which school that snowplow belongs to. It is fine art season, and Great Falls Public Schools kicked off the season at the beginning of the year with the annual GFPS faculty exhibit. You'll see our wonderful art teachers for secondary there on the bottom. We have Christy Wasson, Ricka Walters, Tim Medved, Tess Jacobs, Courtney Harrent, and Shannon Coffin. If you get an opportunity, please make time to go over and check out a couple of our displays in our galleries. We have the Doll Gallery at Great Falls High and the O.C. Seltzer Gallery at CMR. The website is right there that will walk you through the different artists that will have their works on display. But it's just a fun time to go and to watch the artists interact with our students and our communities. And then music. This is where I was last Thursday. Mr. Boyd was also over at Great Falls High, so thank you to him for the pictures on the left. Mine were the pictures on the right. So last Thursday was CMR Band and our Great Falls High Choir. Tonight is CMR Orchestra and Great Falls High Band, and then tomorrow is CMR Choir. I believe Mrs. Mainwaring will be over there, and I'll be back at Great Falls High for the orchestra. It is the only time I can tell you, and I've been to quite a few high school concerts, the only time I have ever been in a concert and the marching band actually filled the aisles at CMR. It was pretty cool. It was packed, and Great Falls High was also packed, and so it is nice to have the sounds of music again in our hallways and in our schools for concert season. So this month we celebrate. We have taken on an initiative to bring some recognition to all of the different groups of individuals who make this district happen, sometimes on the backside and sometimes very visibly. Thank you to Mr. Patrick, because he shared that we take a lot of pride in the care of our buildings, and Great Falls is looked to across the state because of a lot of individuals who just make our buildings shine. So on Monday, September 30th, we did Facebook Live. He did way better than I did. But he shared these really cool facts, and this is some of the fun stuff that's happening with our Facebook Lives. He shared with our community that we have 94 custodians and engineers that take care of 1.9 million square feet of learning space, over 25 buildings, that the ages of the buildings span anywhere from 1948 to 2020, and the average age of our buildings is 58.4 years old. It used to be they'd shut down in the summer. We could really scrub them top to bottom, and they'd be shining and gleaming when the students came back in August. They are still shiny and gleaming when the students come back in August, but our schools are open all year long because of community usage and school usage. And so these amazing men and women make this happen when buildings are very busy. Today, Mr. Decons and I did Supervisors and Bosses Day, which is coming up here in a couple days. And then in a week or so, be on the lookout for Treasure Your Teachers Week, where I will be interviewing elementary students across the district as to who is their favorite teacher and what is their favorite thing about learning. So we'll be having lots of little blurbs from those students. Great Falls is a very generous community. And last week, Executive Director Jackie Mainwaring received notice from Candace English, who is one of our community members, She's a business owner, she's a parent, she's a volunteer. She is founder and president of Sisters United here in Great Falls. And she gave us a very generous donation to the Great Falls Community Food Bank for multiple schools within our community. It makes a difference for her ongoing support of students and families in providing them with healthy meals as the students go home on the weekends and on the evenings, and she supports those families as well. So we can't say thank you enough for Candace or to Candace for the work that she does supporting our community. Speaking of community, Executive Director Mainwaring is leading the charge on our listening sessions. And so they are getting geared up. We are going to be having them on the 28th, the 29th, and the 30th. There are morning sessions and afternoon/evening sessions are in each of those 3 days. And we are going to be working with our community on identifying shared priorities as we move forward. If you or members of our community are listening, or anybody who's listening to this videotaped and posted presentation are interested in joining us, they can email Jackie. It's kind of hard to see, but it's Jackie_Mainwaring at gfps.k12.mt.us, or you can call her at 406-268-6008 to get on the list. And the last slide is one that Mr. Patrick provided to me. It aligns with GFPS board policies 3141 and 3141P. And these are the numbers from the new open enrollment process and law that Great Falls Public Schools is following, as is the rest of the state. So what I wanted to provide you, this is our baseline data that we have, since this is a very new look for us, where we're actually actively tracking this. Allie did an incredible amount of work on this as well, because she's the one who has to take all of the applications in, get all of the information out to all of our neighboring schools, and actually track the students. So what you can see up there are the students who are incoming to Great Falls Public Schools and the local neighboring school districts that they are coming from, as well as the ones that they are going to. And then on the right-hand side is the grade breakdown for incoming and outgoing. Overall, it's a negative change for us, or a change where we lost 18 students. However, we think this number is fairly normal in visiting with Mr. Patrick. We know that a lot of students you'll see over with Sims on the right-hand side, that there are 14 students now in the high school that are outgoing, and many of their students are students who live on that outward edge of town, who go to elementary school out there and naturally migrate out towards Sims with their peers. You'll also see that with Cascade, which is the second row down on outgoing from GFPS. These are students who go to Ulm. They would normally come into Great Falls for high school, but they stick with their peer group and they go to Cascade as well. So we're believing that this is a fairly normal ebb and flow of students. Mr. Patrick, if you have anything to add to that, we're excited to have this baseline data, however.
Yeah, I guess if you look at the chart, you'll see Centerville for outgoing from the GFPS. We haven't received their forms yet, and generally they have a few students that go that direction, like Mrs. Hoyer said. So this is a work in progress. There are some other schools that are coming in periodically of students that they've tagged that live in our district that are attending their school. So this will change somewhat throughout the year, and I'm interested to get the Centerville numbers just to see kind of a better picture of ingoing and incoming and outgoing.
As a reminder, we have 2 windows where we have open enrollment for Great Falls Public Schools. So this fall's is closed, but we'll be opening it up again for the spring here soon, and then we'll open it up in the spring for next fall. So thank you again to Mr. Patrick and to Allie for all of your work on this, and these are numbers we'll definitely be keeping an eye on, and that's your data for the day. So thank you for allowing me to do my presentation.
All right. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Superintendent Hoyer. We appreciate it. And now would be a wonderful little opportunity break in our agenda if our students would like to leave to do so many of the busy things that you talked about. Of course, you're welcome to stay. Thank you so much. And I don't have any requests for audience communication, but if there's anyone that has anything to say, Moving on, our first action item is from Mr. Patrick, a request to advertise for the former Great Falls High School shop renovation.
Thank you, Chairman Skornagoski and members of the board. What this is, it's a little bit of housekeeping. It allows us to move forward with the Great Falls High shop renovation project, and that's changing out the lighting and heating in the shop. Currently, it's not being used for anything other than storage, and this would change it into a STEM center for district-wide students, whether it's first grade in total, second grade in total. The funding for this comes from the innovative tax credit money that we receive. And the only inaccuracy in the board agenda prep sheet is said the plans are completed. GPD is still working on them because they're going to put in quite a few ad alternates, some air conditioning in the upstairs classrooms, some things like that. So virtually the heating system was designed for a wood shop and welding shop, and that doesn't work in classrooms. And that system isn't viable for moving a bunch of students into that. So it's a pretty big project, and once those bid specs are ready, we'll put it out to bid with your approval and follow that process.
Wonderful. Thank you.
So my recommendation is to approve going out to bid on the Great Falls High shop.
Wonderful. I welcome a motion.
Vice Chair Skornagoski.
Yes, Trustee Durant.
I move that we approve the design and Falls High School shop renovation project with the understanding that the lowest qualified bidder will complete the project.
Wonderful. There's a motion and a second to approve the design and advertising of the Great Falls High School shop renovation project. Is there any questions or discussion, Trustee Finicum?
Mr. Patrick, just a dumb question. Of the estimated price tag to do that, does that include the air conditioning, or will that be added on additionally later?
It's at this point it's hard to know until they get it designed, and they'll give us estimates as to here's what the lighting, heating, and all components of it are, and then when it goes out to bid, we'll be able to either do it all or piece it together.
Perfect, thank you.
All right. Any additional questions or comments from my fellow trustees? Any questions or comments from our community? All right. Seeing none, all those in favor of this motion, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. All right, next up we have an update on the CM Russell High School auditorium upgrade and asbestos removal.
Thanks. The reason this is an action item again is so that it can go out to bid. And just to remember what's happened in the past is we went out last year, had the project tied together with both asbestos removal and construction, thinking that that would be a cost-effective way because of the scaffolding that had to be installed to get the asbestos down. The bid came in way too high. It was $2.7 million. So now we're going to break it up into just an asbestos bid and then follow that up with a construction bid after that. And part of what plays into this is a brownfield grant. I did check on that, and we are able to extend it, which is huge because that covers 80% of the cost of the asbestos removal. So what your action tonight and what my recommendation is to approve going out to bid for just the asbestos removal at the CMR auditorium with the intent of bidding it in December or January and the construction to start as soon as school gets out or maybe a little bit before that. We would work with the principals to arrange things so that most of the work could be done in the summer and we could get in using it as soon as possible.
Wonderful.
Madam Chair,
Trustee Finicum.
I would move that we approve advertising for bids to remove the asbestos from the CMR auditorium as presented. Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to approve advertising for bids to remove asbestos from the CMR auditorium. Is there any questions or comments from my fellow trustees? Any questions or comments from our community? Seeing none, all those in favor of this motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Wonderful. Motion passes unanimously. All right. Next up, we have Mr. Decons, the purchase and implementation of Time Clock Plus.
Good evening, Vice Chair Skornagoski, members of the board, and Superintendent Hoyer. I'm here tonight to talk to you about a project we have in place and are ready to move forwards with your approval. It's an electronic time card system, which for many of you that have worked out in the private sector, you are sitting there thinking to yourself, you don't have that for an organization that's this large. No, we do have little poster board cards that they handwrite in every single day, whether or not they're out on sick leave and so forth. This has really been a project of the district since Mr. Herring was here when he moved over from Benefice, and it was one of those things that the district has always talked about the right timing. However, we're at the point that we know you have to have the right timing, but sometimes you have to make management decisions to help with the efficiency of the organization as well. So that's why we chose to move forward. In the background in the discussion, you're able to see the different processes that we go through just to manage these time cards that are out there. We have about 1,100 employees that are out there on time cards, and those time cards, as I listed in here, I have 8 people handle them. That's if you count going one direction. And if you only count one person from payroll, and if you only count one warehouse person or one person in central reception, it's really probably, if you talk about the actual number, about 22 different people that handle those time cards over the course of the month, or sometimes 2 times per month. So really looking to find some efficiency practices that we can use to our advantage as a district to help in the accurate payment of our employees. This definitely will allow us to put more focus on the pieces that we need to be focusing on rather than keying with a time card, one number after another, and then literally uploading that by hand to our Visions or Tyler Tech technology program that we use for data management. The other piece that's very difficult with the time card system that we have right now is the fact if somebody is absent when it's time to turn in time cards. They don't always leave it with their supervisor. It isn't in a place that we can get to it. I can give you an example. State law with some reasons why employees leave, we only have 14 days to pay them. I spent the better part of a day and a half trying to find some time cards that were out there between the school and the warehouse. They were out there. They finally rolled in at about 4 o'clock Friday afternoon so we could get them added to the payroll. But with confines that we have with banks and timing that we have to get information there, that makes it very, very difficult to fit within those guidelines. With an electronic time card system, each administrator has basically a warehouse on their computer where they can look at it, automatically make those approvals. They can see who's there instantly, who's out, why they're out, and so forth. That will definitely speed up that process. The other part that goes along with this is signatures. When we talk about time cards in our district, and Mr. Boyd stepped out for a bit, but with federal time cards, we have to have 3 signatures on those time cards. That means it has to go to 3 different supervisors before it even hits payroll, so it can be managed. That can be difficult at times as well. So as we continue to work through this, we are putting a plan in place. Should you approve this evening, that starting in October through December, we're looking at trying to figure out all the different positions, which we have the list of them, but with positions, they all have different CBAs or different rules that go along with them, so we'll have to do that organization within the Time Clock Plus management system to make sure that it works and adapts appropriately per position. And then in January, from January 1st to the 20th, we'll do training with the district office building. There's a chance, if everything goes well, we'll roll that a little bit forwards to December if we can make that work. But we have to make sure it's going to work first before we would do it. And then starting January 21st, district office building would be the ones who would be implementing this. The reason for that is we have almost every group represented through the district office building. And in order for us to get a true understanding, it's not just the people using the time card system. The supervisors have to have a good example of how it runs, and then as well as payroll. It gives us a lot of opportunity to troubleshoot those positions and clean it up as we move forwards. From there, in April, we'd start with training with our clerical teams. We know these are invaluable people in our buildings. They're the people that our other employees are going to run to right away. So we have to be able to get the clerical, the training, and then allow them the opportunity to use it as well. And in that turn, it also allows our supervisors, our district building administrators, the principals, to use the reconciling piece of the system, so we have a good understanding before we throw And then starting in July, we would look at doing the training for the other hourly employees. That training would actually run all the way up through the beginning of school because we have some that come on right in July, and then we have others that don't start till later in the year with district-wide implementation at that time when school starts next year. When we look at the costs, there's two sides to the costs that we have to point out to you. There's implementation costs, and the implementation cost for Time Clock Plus is about $25,143.75. And then Tyler Technology, who runs our visions, there's a cost for the software that we have to integrate within our programming, and then their time to make sure that it talks back and forth. When we talk about the different time cards that we looked at, the big turning point for Time Clock Plus is it naturally integrates with the Vision software. So we aren't doing a bunch of uploads and downloads and hand keying. It should be moving back and forth in real time, which was a great perk for our organization. Then we have annual licensing fees that go on for a 5-year period. Time Clock Plus, it'll be about $28 per employee. They quoted us at 1,000, so that'll be about $28,000 a year. And then Tyler Technology has a price every year for $1,237, and that's upgrading the module that's combined with the other software that we currently have. So the total cost in this project will be about $61,882.75. However, one thing I do want to note is for this first year before July 1, those annual licensing fees will be prorated to about $4,200 because it will only apply to the employees that are using the system. It won't apply to all of our employees. With that, I would like to make the recommendation that the district board approve Time Clock Plus electronic time card system at a one-time implementation cost of $32,645.75, along with annual licensing fees to be prorated for fiscal year 25 to cost $4,200 for a total of $36,845.75.
Thank you. I'll open the floor for a motion.
Madam Chair.
I was going to say, this side's been quiet. All right. Trustee Dorowski.
I move that we approve the Time Clock Plus electronic time card system at the one-time implementation cost of $32,645.75, and annual licensing fees will be prorated for the fiscal year 2025 to a cost of $4,200 for a total of $36,845.75.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to approve the implementation and purchasing of the Clock Plus system. Is there any questions or comments from my fellow trustees? From our community? I just want to thank you for putting together such a thorough proposal and a plan to implement. Change can be tricky, but it sounds like with what's here in place that this is just going to be a win-win for the district. So well done.
We do plan for it to be a win-win, but first of all, you just have to say thanks to the payroll people because they're the ones that are touching all those time cards.
Yeah,
every single day.
that's
and dealing with handwriting and everything else in between to decode. But yes, the plan is in place. Hopefully we can make it work.
wonderful. All right, with that said, all those in favor of approving this motion, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. All right, motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Decons.
Thank you.
All right, since the agenda was adopted as presented, we have no items under action other. We move next to report, discussion, and policies, and we have a report from Mr. Patrick about the National Association of Federally Impacted Schools report.
Okay, thank you, and thanks Superintendent Hoyer for allowing me just to give the board a brief update on the NAPES conference because it's an important conference when it comes to our federal funding. And before I get into anything on the conference, I want to take a minute and just thank Lance Boyd and his staff for the amount of work that they have to do in order for us to receive the money. There's a number of cards that go out, and the parents are asked questions: do your kids live on base? Do you live on base? And a variety of things. And it's a lot of work. And him and his staff have done that for years. did it. Dale Lambert did it before, and it is a lot of work, and appreciate his efforts in that and his team. Before you, I put a handout too. That's just School Boards Association went back a couple weeks before um, the NAFIS conference, and they had a handout that was pretty simple. And I thought, really, if I want to leave anything for the congressman so they could learn about Great Falls Public Schools, I put this together. And ordinarily, I would have bossed Sharon Isler around saying, okay, move this picture, do that. She wasn't around to do that, so this is all my work in putting it together. And really, I wanted him to get a picture of our Purple Star awards that we've received. And at the bottom of that page, with this opening page, you can see the amounts of impact aid that we've received on an annual basis. And realize that impact aid doesn't come in like for 2023. All the 2023 money doesn't come in that year. It's parceled out in a manner that's kind of crazy. But you can see they tried to make up some money this last year. We got more than we have in quite a while, but that's more of just a catch-up situation. So these were important things that I thought it would our congressman should know a little bit of how we spent our ESSER dollars, our federal program funding, and a lot of this I pulled out of the budget book. So go ahead and go to the next slide. This just gives you a picture in the country of states that get impact aid and how much they receive. And you can see we're in that second tier. The highest states that receive money are Texas and Alaska. And then we fall in with California, Washington, South Dakota, New Mexico, and states like that. And we're in that range between 50 and $100 million of funding for our entire state. Go ahead and go to the next slide. And this just gives you a picture that there's 1,082 districts in the country that receive impact aid. It's paid for federal property and basic support. And some of the early government lessons that hopefully you learned was that states can't tax the federal government. And that's the reason for impact aid. It's a way for the federal government to give money back to states that have federal land. So it's the parks. We qualify for military and some other reasons like that. And right now, the original funding formula doesn't pay out the whole amount that the formula should. So they've come up with a lot amount, learning opportunity threshold, and each portion of impact aid gets paid a different amount. On the right-hand side of this page is the subgroups. It's almost like when we go to MCEL, we've got the board members, the clerks, the administrators. At that conference, there's 4 subgroups. They include the Federal Lands Impacted Schools Association. The one that we belong to is Learning Opportunity Impact Schools Association. And really, this group is because we don't fit in any of the other ones. The last one on there is the impacted schools. We don't have enough Native American students to qualify yet. We just recently got recognition for the Little Shell tribe. Once they start living on property, we may fall into that category. Under the military impacted schools, we don't have enough military impact to qualify for that one. So really the Learning Opportunity Impacted Schools Association is a catch-all. It's everybody that doesn't fit in the other groups. Okay, next slide. This is just an interesting chart that shows that impact aid started in about 1951. NAFIS was established in 1973. In 1976, they added low-rent housing. The ESEA program was added in 1965. And then just a number of the reductions. Anytime the federal government has reduced funding on a federal level for schools, so just indicates the year and what it was. If we were to be fully funded in 2020, the federal government would have to pay out to the tune of $2.3 billion. And we're not, the federal government isn't there. And next, we'll bring it down from the national level to the state level. I want you to think for a second and either write down or have in your mind, how many schools in Montana do you think qualify for impact aid? Just get a number in your head. Just had about 5 years ago or 6 years ago, I put in a section in the budget book about impact aid in the schools, but just pick a number. I want to see how lucky you are. Okay, go to the next slide. 41. 41 schools. And as you look at this, the highest funded is $13,117,770. The lowest is $10,821. The average is about $1.7 million. And I think it's interesting when you look at that list, how many AA schools do you see on there?
Just
That'd be one.
Just
That would be
us.
us. How about A schools?
Yeah, that's crazy.
The classification below us. Well, there's like two. I think it's Hardin and
Harlem.
not Ronan, Browning. Hardin and Browning are the two A schools. So really, this is for a lot of smaller schools in the state of Montana. The only reason we qualify mainly is the military presence. So now, if you were to take all these schools, all 41 of them, and say, okay, somebody's at 13 million, and you obviously know that's not us. Where would you say we'd rank if you're going to take out of all these schools?
Lower third.
Okay. Anybody else?
Lower 20%.
Okay, go ahead and go to the next slide. So you can see we fall in at number 18. Browning is the school that receives the most money. They have elementary allocation and a high school allocation. And then it just goes down to the school, whether they're elementary and high school. And you can see we're second to the bottom on that first column with $1,020,710. How much we receive in the elementary, how much we receive in the high school. And you can see just the impact throughout the state of how much money all these schools receive. Okay, next slide. It was fun being back there. It's interesting the people you run into working in the offices. On the left, you can see Nathan Zobrak, graduate of Great Falls High. He's working for Senator Tester. In the middle frame is interesting. It's Connor McAllister. You may recognize the McAllister name. He was the president of the College of Great Falls. Had 3 sons that were triplets. When I came into the district, they were at North, a couple years older than me. And the ironic part is I'm living in the house that they grew up in. That was the one my wife picked out for us to live in. Connor in the middle there is the main legislative person for Senator Daines. I asked him, I said, so what are your brothers doing? He said, well, one of them's the main person for none other than J.D. Vance, and the other one's in New York doing some things. And I think Mr. McAllister was a member of Bush's cabinet. So there are some political connections there. And then the person in the background in that middle section is Brian Gallup. He's was the board chair in Browning for a number of years. He's on the board, but he's given that up for this next year. But he does a lot of the organizing. He serves on some boards for NAPIS. He's a great organizer and a great lobbyist, so to speak. And then the person on the right is Alyssa Latre, another Great Falls High graduate. She also worked for Senator Tester. So it was like Great Falls Week back there with the aides working for those people. Go ahead and go to the next slide. Just a few things about the conference. Some of the information, they talked about what's going to happen in Congress the rest of the year. We also got to hear from the Teacher of the Year from 2023. And she had a very interesting story. I think her mom is from Iran. Her dad's from Sweden. They came to the United States. But she started teaching at a college level, went to a high school in Oklahoma. And after about 8 months, she was like, I'm done. This isn't for me, yada, yada, yada. And what brought her around was just she got into journaling and journaling on the internet and blogs. And it was one positive thing that happened each day. And she talked about how she got to know the kids and just the positive things that she put down each day and the relationship she built with kids. It was phenomenal. Great speaker. And then the picture in the upper right-hand corner is just one of our sessions where the speakers come in. These are the people that attend the conference. And Montana this year had the biggest representation of people from all the states attend. And lobbying is important for Impact Aid. Impact Aid it has to be, it's called forward funded. It's funded not every year like the title programs. The Congress has to allocate the revenue in order for us to receive it. And then the lower right-hand corner is just what also happens at the conference is they highlight some schools and what they're doing with Impact Aid dollars. And this was a school in Washington that I think they spoke 20 languages and just how they use the money to implement programs for students. And then the last slide, I think. Oh, conference highlights. Like I said, we're the largest, and both Senator Daines and Senator Tester, there's a letter of support that goes around Congress. They both signed it, so it's not a political thing. If you're a Democrat, you support it, or you're a Republican, you support it, or vice versa, which is huge. And what happens as far as our lobbying goes, we spent one day on the Hill, and it's the group of us. It's everybody from Montana that meets with each of the senators and representatives. And this year, Browning brought a couple students, and they gave a spiel, which was huge. Students carry a lot of weight when it comes to that. And really, the importance of having somebody from Great Falls there is we're the sole military presence. It's like, okay, we're here to talk about the support of Impact Aid, the Native American support, but also the military support. If we weren't there, it'd be like, okay, we don't care about military support for Impact Aid. And how do we use our money? We support our GROTC program with it, special education, and then Loy teacher salaries, a portion of those. And Tammy Lacey was the one that came up with this great idea, because when I first got here, it was like anything extra we wanted to do, the money came from Impact Aid. It's like when Luke presented tonight, we want to do this, we need money for it, let's use Impact Aid. And it was a whole menagerie of how it was used and why it was used. And Tammy said, well, if the base ever closed, Loy would close, so it makes sense to tie that money directly to Loy. Also, in the years we made a lot of cuts and reductions to our budget. Programs weren't reduced, so to speak, but what I did budget-wise is said, okay, the energy line item, put that in Impact Aid, so if we had a bad year, ordinarily you budget a little extra in case you have a hard winter. So there's some budget that lines that up for the energy and construction that we really budget for, but we don't spend. So that's how we use it. And then the final slide, Ellie, is just pictures. Obviously, you can see the Washington Monument and the Lincoln Memorial. And those are taken from the World War II Memorial, which has a special place in my heart. My dad fought in World War II. He was in the Philippines. And then just a couple other pictures. And obviously, this was our meeting with Senator Tester. So it's a rigorous few days, because Friday night, get done with work at the airport 5 o'clock in the morning on Saturday, and then get back real late on Wednesday night and here early Thursday morning. So Washington's a great place to walk if you like to walk. So I just thank you for allowing me to share with you what happens at that conference and why it's important to Great Falls Public Schools.
Wonderful. Thank you. Any questions or comments on this report? Yeah, this might be the first time I've heard you talk about this, so I appreciate the additional information. Well done. All right. Now, moving on to discussion, committee reports, and comments. I'll start with Trustee Bronson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Not too much to report, obviously, since I was out of state at the time of the last meeting. I do want to share, though, that the trip I took to Virginia, by chance, I ended up talking to a number of folks who either work for or used to work for the Albemarle County School District in Charlottesville. And we ended up talking about their education programs and ours, and they were very fascinated to hear particularly about our Indigenous education program. I wouldn't be surprised if some of them do a little bit of outreach to our curriculum people, because they were very impressed. That area
Trustee Finicum.
Thank you very much. Just a couple things. I learned something new from the students today, which I generally do, but I thought this was really interesting. We're teaching kids to play with fire. When I grew up, that meant a whole different thing. I spent a couple days this last week for an insurance planning seminar uh, from Helena, and one of the things it's a part of this that this is the insurance group for the schools that they take care of work comps and also the building insurances and all that. And one of the things that was really quite ironic was Brian and the budget committee, you guys will get a kick out of this, that you're supposed to replace buildings roofs, I don't know, every 30 years or so. But what's the main way to replace roofs? You wait for hail. And they were saying, no, that is not proper. and all of us sitting around the room, yeah, I wait for hail. Let you know.
All right, thank you. Trustee Sunchild.
From what I can tell, it's going wonderfully. The positivity with the principal, our teacher rep, it's pretty amazing. I'm very impressed with their great work in a short amount of time. We're sitting at about 300 students tonight, so 300 students, which is really good. They're go getters. They are go getters, and they're creating a climate that is very welcoming to the students and the families, and the teachers really are very willing to go above and beyond. Like I know Carabelle's music teacher, she's starting an after school choir, and I had visited with her about that earlier. I'd run into her at the grocery store before I found that out. She was telling me about that, and she was super excited about it. And she's coming from the middle school to the elementary school, and she's looking around at the kids going to the elementary, and so that's what they're all about there, and so that's what she's doing. So that was really great.
All right. Trustee Thompson. And Trustee Trosky.
I don't really have that much. I liked the lessons we loved from our high school students. It was, calculus and chemistry, which are two of my favorite things. And then cross country was in there, which I also love. I'm really program is so much. I know that last year there was a lot of interest students who were going to be able to do that, so that's really cool. And then there's parent teacher conferences the next couple of days, so just
Right.
throw a thought out to our teachers that are dealing with that, and my kids got to shop the book fair today, so they were pretty excited about that. Lots of pens and books and erasers, so they're excited.
Awesome. Perfect. So after we had our work session about kind of our YRBS data, our student mental health and safety or public safety session, I had the opportunity to attend a safety committee, which included a lot of the information that we heard, but also added information about what our nurses are doing in our schools. Something that came out of COVID is now we're fortunate enough to have a nurse in every school. They're working on things like training folks on how to um, do the I'm trying to remember the EpiPens, and there's lots of bee stings and things like that. So having that resource in our schools has been a great addition. It also included some information from our workman's comp team, and a lot of work has been going on in the district to reduce those claims. Just simple little things. Pay attention to slips and trips and falls. But it's nice to see that number going down as well. Shows that we care about our team. I also had an opportunity to take part in the community listening sessions, essentially ahead of that um, community-wide training. Folks were up here at the district office, and Amy and I sat in on those listening sessions. And I really encourage our community to participate in that, and kind of across sectors. I think people, when they think about the school budget, it becomes this kind of big, overwhelming thing. And really, the goal of these listening sessions just is to both kind of share what the district is facing as far as a challenge with the budget, but also gives people really the opportunity to talk about what their priorities are for education, what's meaningful to their students, and have that play a part in the decisions that are ahead. And in participating in that listening session with our administrators, it really became apparent to me that while we haven't had cuts recently here because of good stewardship, this cliff that's hanging above us, um, while they appreciate the transparency, it really is a heavy weight on their shoulders, and that there's certainly a lot of concern about how we approach this huge cliff that's ahead of us with our budget. So with that in mind, there is going to be a session ahead that Kids Education Yes is organizing, where we'll have an opportunity on October 24th. Is that right? Thursday, October 24th, where community members will have an opportunity to talk to our legislators, and just our kind of community at large, our business community at large, about the changes that are needed ahead of, as we approach this session for school funding. So I encourage all of my fellow trustees to try to fit that into your schedule. I mean, you can reach out to Jamie Marshall on that. I also had the opportunity today to join our students at the Alliance for Youth, our student mentors from all 5 schools. So um, the two middle schools and the 3 high schools came together to talk about projects that they can work on together, and how we can really see the impact of their work on student mental health, and how we can grow that and support that. So it was a really great time. Both Brooklyn and Caitlin were there on behalf of Great Falls High. Just one more demonstration of all of the things our students are doing in our community. Up ahead, we have on Tuesday, October 15th, a board budget committee meeting. Several of us will be heading to Missoula for the Montana Conference of Educational Leadership, or MCEL. And then our next regular meeting will be Monday, October 28th. There's a few other public meetings ahead of us that you can find on the agenda. With that, I would open to a motion to adjourn. All right, meeting adjourned. Thank you all.